Yo, 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 yo. Right, live, we should be live, hopefully. Let's get this correct. Yes, let's see one or two people coming in. Let's get things correct, make sure everything's running correctly. Yep, we're gonna have a chat for a few minutes about the Admark amp. So big up all those in the afternoon, just wait for a couple of people to come through so that we can get on things and see who's there and see who's not. So we're nice at the moment. Yeah, that's going through. Big up Owen, big up Glenn. All those who are there this afternoon, all those who had a wicked weekend, we had a wicked weekend. Big up Droopy, I see you as well. We had a wicked weekend this weekend, all kind of style, all kind of fashion. Acton Carnival, West London Festival, playing some vinyl, supported the vinyl thing on Friday. So everything's been nice, and there've been quite a few things on. The Love Injection thing was on, there were some big dances on this weekend, and everybody seemed to be alright. So summertime is coming, definitely, most definitely. I'm outside before it starts raining. So I'll give it another minute or two, because I know a couple of mans did want to catch up with the video today about this, who was interested in this. So big up Ray Vidal, long time we ain't linked up. Good to see you in the evening as well. I want to give you a little review on this Admark amp. It's not the new Admark amps, it's the 4-channel from the K series. They're all K series. I'll explain as I go along. Right, big up KT, who's also watching the sound system things, even though she's a music person. So enough respect, Katie, for your support each and every time. Right, what I'm actually here to chat about is the Admark amp, the Admark 4-channel amp. Now I'm going to turn this round slightly, or turn the amp round slightly, so you can see it and see me. Okay, now this is, let me get this better camera angle there, so you can see. Okay, let's shuffle that like that. That's nice, that's nice. This is the Admark 4-channel amp. This is the K416 series. Now it's 4 channels, 1 new. Now let's start off with something. They say lightweight. Yeah, I'm laughing because it's not exactly. It's definitely heavier than my Behringers. Most definitely. It's about the same weight as the QSC PL236. So it's 12 to 13K. So it's not paper lightweight, but still lightweight that one man can pick it up with one arm and, you know, walk with it without any problem. So yes, yeah, the amp is a lightweight amp. Big up Mr. Ray Sawney in the place, nice to see you. Anyway, let's go back to the amp, the Admark model here. 4 channels. Now this is the K416, which basically runs 4 channels of 1600 watts at 8 ohms, 2600 watts at 4 ohms, and then I think it is 3500 watts at 2 ohms. So basically a 14 to 15,000 watt amplifier altogether. Now I've put this through a bit of a rugged test over the last 2-3 weeks, and I have to say very impressive there on the bottom and top section. This amp, the 416, actually plays very clean at the top, so if you wanted to use it on your top section, yeah, you'd get very good reproduction on this amp. As for subsection, and we'll go into that in a little while, this played it without any problems, with plenty headroom, and hit the no notes real well. So yeah, have to say that. Right, let's get into this amp itself. Now a couple of months ago, I had another amp very, very, very similar, basically identical. I want to tell you about these amps as we're here. Identical. It was a zone factor amp, except it was blue faceplate, same in the middle, blue edges, blah blah blah, but internally they are all built the same. A couple of them are different wattages. The next brother up from this is 4x2000. Then you've got a next one which is 4x2600 at 8 ohms. Now they've got mad ones which run at 4x4000 at 8 ohms. So crazy power. Okay, we're going to discuss that as well. Now, this one does 1600 watts each channel at 8 ohms. So it's got plenty headroom, and to me, that kind of power is decent. You don't really need for me to be pushing hard. But what people seem to forget, and what certain soundmen do forget, is even if you buy these power amps, you know, a bit cheaper and everything, but you buy these power amps, you have to have the correct current to run them properly. If you want to pull big current, big power from these power amps, you got to have good current going into them. Otherwise, you ain't gonna get that power. I mean, that is just basic mathematical sense. So to all the soundman, make sure you have good current going into these amps, and they will play correctly. You know, they will play. I mean, I plugged them in over the weekend. Plugged this one in to a generator, and it played for 2 days without any kind of issue, without any kind of problem, and it played nothing but sub bass, and it stayed cool. So that the amp itself, from that, like I said, I've done some other tests and I took it out a few times before that. So the amp itself, for me, has behaved very, very decently, and has, you know, done what it's supposed to do, and done it really, really well. Yeah, I'm going to say that now. So big up Daniel at Admark. Yeah. Now, like I said, these amps are built, and I've said this before, by one factory. What I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it on, because I want to show you a couple of things. As you can see, the front panel here. The thing about these as well is they've got these little knobs. The knobs are very small. That's one thing I don't really like, but I can handle it. And it's got a little ticky sight thing on it, dent on it, to show you where it is when you turn it up and turn it down. Now, that's, you know, you can use it. I don't like that much, really and truthfully. It's not that, it's too delicate for me, but basically you would just turn it up, leave it on a level, set it, gone again. So them kind of things, you know, in reality don't really matter if you're using the amp in a proper way. Now I'm going to switch this on just to show you the LED screen at the front. Now when it comes on, there you go, till it's stable, all 4 channels will stay in the red as it comes on. Soft start basically. So till it's corrected all thermals for a few seconds, all 4 channels will stay in the red, which is good. So it's protecting itself. Now on here at the front, I will bring this a little bit further so you can just see this LED screen, but you can't really see it on the camera. But what it does, the LED screen, what it is, basically it shows you that both channel A, channel B, channel C and channel D, it shows you whether they're in stereo mode, whether they're in mono mode, or whether they're in bridge mode. So you have that on your LED screen. Now mentally you would know that anyway, because you have your settings on the back, but it's good to have that in case you've actually accidentally flicked a switch, and then you can see that when you start. the other good thing about this is the temperature on the front. Now, it starts off at 33 degrees, which is pretty cool for an amp. And then it says underneath, stays in green, normal state, 34 degrees is going up and up. Now, over the weekend I had this on 6-7 hours both days, I think. And it went to 42 degrees and then just sat there. And it didn't go above that, so the amp stayed cool when pushed all weekend. So again, another good thing for the amp itself. I've been told by a couple of people who I have got the amps for that they put 16 boxes to test out the amps, so basically 4 on each channel. And I've had reports back from a couple of guys who I've got the amps for and everything, the 4x2000 and the 4x2600, and that apparently all the guys have had no problems. They played them down to 2 ohms per channel on bass and had no issues. Now personally, me, I wouldn't do that thing. That you're pushing that amp to the limit, and I like to give myself headroom. But you know, some man will do that as either as a test or just standard. You know, and the amp has proven that it can hit that kind of load, hit them kind of notes, and do the same kind of work as the big old school iron amps, which a lot of the man are saying, no, I'm not dealing with them amps, they can't do the same thing, rare. Each to their own, I suppose, at the end of the day. I'm just showing people what the thing can actually, you know, to me, my own opinion, let's get this straight, somebody else might string it up a different way and say, no, that ain't no good. So this is just my opinion on this amp, yeah. It stays very cool, very long, yeah, and it has also on the back, let me turn this round, I'll show you. As I said, it's not light, you can feel the weight on it. It is solidly built as well, like it's built like it's got a ton of weight on it and things, but I'll show you the back here. Right, now on the back you have the dip switches here, in which you can set stereo, mono or bridge. You have an input voltage switch, so which sets to, if I remember rightly, what is it, 30, I think it's 32, from 32 to 36 to 38 to 40, something like that, from 32 to 41, and set in 4 different levels for input, for the input voltage. You've also got a limiter on the back as well in the dip switches, which is simple on or off. Now, big up Mr. Michael, big up Michael Daniels, who gave me a little bit of info on the settings on here. So at the weekend, I did set it at the lowest input gain and crank that amp, all channels right up, so that I would have more headroom on the signal. And it worked perfectly fine. It worked perfectly, didn't go nowhere near peaking that amp. Big up Tony, anywhere you're there. Didn't go nowhere near peaking the amp and had plenty headroom. It can play them deep notes. It can play them deep notes, and it can play them consistently. It doesn't drop off. It can play them consistently. My thing is, as you've seen with both CVR and Admark and the copy company Morin, as you've seen that they've upgraded very quickly on the numbers. This amp itself, the K416, is only a couple of years old when they brought this one out, and that's 1600 watts at 4, at 8 ohms. they're now at an amp which can do 4,000 watts at 8 ohms at 4 channels. Quick bounce, quick bounce, quick bounce. But if you look at the figures consistently at what these amps can actually do, yeah, you'll see there's not much difference in the 4x2000 and the 4x3000 or the 4x3 5000. There's not really much difference. The new models they've made, they've changed the internals slightly and put a better cooling system in there, and supposedly the fans are supposed to be better as well. So that's in the AD442. But you know, for me personally, the amp does play very, very well. And as Ebony Showcase says, you know, 4K allegedly. When you think, if you've got an amp that will play, basically, I think that amp that plays 4,000 watts actually does about 7,000 or 8,000 watts in 2 ohms, something like that. Now, if you're talking 4 channels at 7,000 watts, you're talking 28,000 watts from 1 amp, okay? Now, Powersoft had whatever technology to get round that for current draw or whatever, but if you've got 28,000 watts from 1 amp, you're going to have some sort of serious current going into that to be able to play that hard. Yeah, that's why, that's for me, yeah, 13 amp, I'm never going to push this amp to its limits on a 13 amp plug. There's no way I'll be able to do that. Yeah, that's got to go on a 32 or whatever, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, but you know, for me, they're worth the money. They're worth the money, and I would say to the sound man out there, yeah, go out there, buy one. It's worth it. It will play your bass. It will play your tops. This model I can vouch for because it sounds sweet at the top end. It doesn't slope, it doesn't squeak, it sounds sweet on the top end. Yeah, so I can vouch for this model, and as for bass, yeah, it does the job. And like I say, if you do things correctly, if you do your maths correctly, I was just playing a 1,000 watt box per channel, and the amp is showing 2,600 watts per channel. So I had plenty headroom. I had a ton of headroom to play that box sweetly, and that's why that amp did work for me. So really, maths to amp, that's all you got to do, and you can get whatever to work for you properly. Hugh Williams' Sonai system, don't have to tell that man nothing, because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, he's got the properties. Yeah, let's not go into that. Yeah, the X8, the X4. You know what I mean? We won't go into that. But as I say, if you have the proper current to play these amps, they will play sweetly. And if you put the correct boxes on them, they will play sweetly. Yeah, they are not like the Powersoft, full of DSP or anything like that. And they got a couple of dip switches on the back. That's your look. You're just getting power. And as Ebony Showcase said, another thing, right? And I'll say this because these amps ain't Powersoft, they ain't QSCs, they're not old school Crown and Crest. Right? So there's when you're purchasing these amps, sit down and think to yourself, well, it says it will do 2,600 watts at 8 ohms. Nothing against the Chinese, because they're going up in their game. They're building some good things, alright? Don't get me wrong at all, yeah? But I do believe that some of the numbers are slightly overrated. Yeah, this is just my opinion. This is just my opinion. Maybe not by a ton or whatever, but what I do when I get some of these amps, these type of amps now, is I take off a certain percentage from that figure, and then I'll say to myself in my head, okay, that's the number I'm looking at, really and truthfully. It could be anything between 15 to 25%, depending on the tests I've done on that amp, and I'll take that number off to get roughly a rough correct figure, so I know roughly what the amp can do. Now, I also, there was somebody who was saying to me, nah, Chalky, blah, 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 the zone factor and that Admark ain't the same, right? And like I've stated, they all come from the same factory, the Gesundheit factory, as I call it, the Gesundheit factory. They're all made there. The company, Admark, they have their own, yeah, but they've got their name on it. Zone Factor have their own. They've got their own name on it. Morin have their own. They have their own name on it. They're all made in one factory and then rebadged or whatever. And, you know, good luck to the sales teams and the makers. That's up to them. You know, that's no one's copying. They're just selling and done. Yeah, simple as that. Wassy in America, he's got his type of versions of these. Only what he has done internally is he's changed some of the internal components and made them higher ratings and higher factor components. Yeah, and he's also dealt with some of the input power and blah 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 in his amp, so therefore he's up the price on, but basically it is the same kind of layer. Yeah, so you know, these amps aren't exactly what I would say, yeah, just one type. Yeah, it is built in one factory, placed all over, and yeah, I can prove it quite simply. Yeah, and I'm, like I said, big up all the companies who have them. Yeah, and good, but I'm going to prove this right simply, just to show people. This is the manual, right, for this amp. Yeah, this is the manual for the zone factor. The differences being, one has Admark, one has nothing, right? You open what you have here, and you will see they're exactly the same. There is no difference. There is no difference. And like I said, I'm not downgrading the companies. I just want people out there to know the truth. It's as simple as that. Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, so these amps all built by one company in one factory, then distributed, and then people get the choice to, like, I could have had Simple Things audio put on that corner. I could have had that face paint redone and had Simple Things audio put on there, but I didn't. I just done what I had to do and just bought it. Yeah, so they're all built in the one factory and what have you. You know what I mean? Just a second, please. Right. Anyway, they're all built in the one factory and then distributed to whether a man wants to just buy it for a sound, whether a person wants to buy 10 and sell them on, you know, they don't ask questions. You know what I mean? You can buy them, rebadge them, put your name on them. You're not doing nothing illegal. You can buy 20, yeah, put whatever you like on them and sell them on. The company doesn't ask questions. Simple as that. Yeah, so no one could say, oh, they're copying. It isn't a copy, it is the thing. So, you know what I mean? That is how it is. Now, as I said, as you can see, well, you can't really see it, but this has, as we've sat now, gone from 34 up to 40 degrees, just where it's sitting idle. Yeah. While I played it, it went up another 2 degrees and just sat at 42 for the whole weekend. So the amp is good in that way. As for the rated power on the actual amp itself, as I was talking about before, before I set up for the weekend, done a few tests, hardback tests on this 4-bass. Not all channels loaded when I was doing the test, but pushing a few boxes, a couple of 18s as well. And the rated power at 4 ohms for me is quite close to what it states. I would say roughly about maybe 2002. I'm going by roughness. Okay, there's no meter readings in this. Yeah, so I'm going by what when I pushed it came close to peak, giving you a rough idea of what the drivers sounded like and what they could do at that time. There is no meter readings. I can't say, oh, it read this, it read that. I'm not telling you them digital figures. This is my hearing telling you and what I'm seeing the amp do. Okay? Now, the amp, at no time I've had it yet has it really looked like it's forced to click. I've noticed when the high signals in this, it seems to be delicate and it does seem to pick them up hard, but it reproduces them nicely without any kind of, you know, swing or whatever. So, you know, I don't worry about that. There was one thing I did notice, and then for some reason it hasn't happened since, but when I took it out and I only used 2 channels on that amp. I used channel 1 and I used channel 3. Now, for some reason at the time, as I was pushing it, it got to green light 2, it was steady, and as I was pushing it, there was a little flicker of a green light came on channel 2 and channel 4. Now, I thought at the time that, oh, I must be seeing that coming through something, so I bent down low to have a look, and there was an actual light signal, nickel flickering, coming through to the channels, even though the channels wasn't connected up with nothing and turned down to nothing. There was a little slight something. So next day I brought it home, tested it out, plugged in a speaker to see if anything was coming through that speaker, and it wasn't audible. There was nothing. It was silent. So it was just a little light flicker that was on the amp. And then after that, since I've used that and I've tested that again, that hasn't happened. So maybe it was just a one-off thing, but I have to say, when it first happened, the first thing I thought, why, what's that? Some kind of bleed. But it was tiny. It was tiny and it wasn't audible at all. So again, the amp passed that. Okay. On the back, I like the fact that everything is locking. So the speakers are locking, the XLR inputs and outputs all locking. There is no jacks, there is no RCA inputs and outputs. Everything is just standard XLRs and speakers. Simple as that. So nothing to worry about. I personally, again, would say to a lot of soundmen, I would think very, very hard about, you know, maybe trying these amps, because they're worth it. They're worth it. I know a lot of soundmen, our age group, right, and you know, that's us youngsters, right, who really don't want to entertain them type of amps, whether it's a power soft or whether it's a Chinese amps, don't want to entertain them type of amps. But I'm telling you, me, I'm grey and all in my soldier face. These are worth putting in your system. They're worth putting in your system, trust me. Yeah. So far, and I've done the 2-channel last year or year before, I think. I've done the 4-channel this year. I've done another couple last year and everything. I've managed to get quite a few for different people over the last couple of years. And to be totally honest, I have not up to now had one bad piece of feedback. So that in itself says something, you know what I mean, 2 years down the line, because I know a lot of man was worried about whether these amps would be durable. Now, a lot of sounds, I'll state this now, there are sounds in Jamaica who I've got links with, there are sounds in America who I've got links with, yeah, who have been using these amps for quite a while, and they've been flawless. The actual percentage of repair rates or fault rates that have to go back on these amps is very, very small. Yeah, I know a lot of men who won't entertain them just for the simple reason because of the figures, so that, you know, the figures seem to be inflated. Yeah, for true. So a lot of men, because of that, and because they're Chinese, and because they got to get them from China, and then wait for it to come over here, and if there's any problems, this and that. A lot of that is totally understood, especially if you're a professional company and blah, blah, blah. You need to have all these things correct and what have you. But again, even if you are a professional company, you see, as far as I'm concerned, these amps will run correctly. You just give them the chance to. A lot of people have, as I said, around the globe, given them the chance to, and have had no issues at all, you know. So for me, they're worth it. They're worth the money. I don't know why certain companies, you know, not Admark, because me and Daniel, I've chatted to Admark, and you know, me and Daniel get on, we ain't got no problems. But I don't know why there are certain companies around the globe who will blatantly turn around and tell you that their amp is different. Now, I'm not going to name none of these companies, but there is a couple of companies around the globe who I have messaged, who I have chatted to, alright, and who have, and a couple of them have actually cussed me for, you know, saying that I know that their amp is exactly the same and where it came from, yeah, and they won't have it, you know. And I can't understand that mentality of thinking, you know. Just tell people the truth, tell people what it can do, what it's capable of. It is a decent amp, so you don't need to sidestep them things just for sales. You know what I mean? Simple as that. You don't need to sidestep them things for sales. The amp is a good piece, and if you put a good signal, right? I've got a big up Leafton for the weekend, yeah, because me and him, we sorted out a low input, high output structure, and put this on the lowest input voltage, and we sorted out a structure that worked, and we put that into this 100%, no problem. Didn't even have to push it hard, yeah, it was sweet. So if you put correct signal into these amps and play them, as I'm going to say this now, I like to play my stuff within its limits, okay, not outside its limits, because I'm boom. No, I like to play my things within its limits. So therefore, for me, if you use these amps and you play them within their limits and don't try and get more than what they can do in reality, then you're good to go. You know, for me, these aren't the old RMX QSC, the old Crest amps that you should be playing them in clip all the time. You can't do that with these amps, and I'm pretty sure, and I haven't played this to clip, but I'm pretty sure that the protection on these would probably be pretty delicate, so you hit clip, it'll probably shut down or something, you know what I mean? So for me, I would definitely, you know, play these amps below clip, keep them below clip, and they will be sweet, and put the right drivers on them, and you're good to go. You're good to go. Ebony showcases a man, he knows about these ones as well. He's tried these type of amps, and I haven't heard him come back with any bad comments myself, personally. So, and he's a man who's been in sound system, running sound for years, so he knows. As I said, there's other sound man about at the moment who've been coming to me, who I've been getting the amps for, who haven't complained at all. A man just phoned me today, just today, to tell me, yeah, I use it weekend, and boy, rah, rah, rah. You know what I mean? And he's talking about putting 16 box on the amp because he wants to try it out hard. You know what I mean? Which, like I say, I personally wouldn't do it, but you know what, yeah, if you've got the right drivers, you want to test it, then do that, but I wouldn't push it hard to do that at all, you know. But that was my little piece of review on this amplifier, the K4. This is the K416 4x1600 watts. As I said, my only little thing was with the little knobs. You know what I mean? I'm a man, I like my little knob to be a bit bigger, but you can't have everything. And as I said, it's one of them where you can just turn it, leave it, set it, gone again. Yeah, so it's nothing that's really gonna, you know, affect me with the knobs being little, so I'm happy with that. The build quality, again, solid as a rock. Solid as a rock. They've made this. These amps are built very, very well. Very, very well. You know, and the cooling system inside of these, also the fans, you know, if you're in an empty house, you'll hear the fan. Yeah. But if you're in a dance or a party or a speech place, you ain't hearing them fans. And from what I've been informed, Admark have upgraded the fans on the new models, on the A442 and the one before that. So the fans are actually now quieter inside these amps, and they've actually put a bit of a better cooling system inside, because the bigger amps are now drawing more current. So that's good thinking, as long as it works. As long as it works good. You know, as Ebony Showcase said, the fans, you know what, I don't think they're noisy hard. I don't think they're noisy hard, really. You know, when you've got two of them together, then yeah, I suppose, yeah. And a couple of them together, it can be noisy. But to me, I mean, if you're in a dance, you're not going to notice that. And you know that you're not going to notice that in a dance. You know, when you're testing and thing, yeah, you can hear them thing, but in a dance, you're not going to notice that at all. And like I said, what I've been informed about, and maybe people did complain about the noise, I don't know. But Daniel informed me just yesterday that they've upgraded the fans in these now, and they put a bit of a better cooling system in them because they're drawing more current for the more power. So, you know, there you go. It is what it is. It does the job, like I said, it does the job very well. I now know that, so it's worth having there. It's definitely worth having in your rack, you know what I mean? So yeah, I've got nothing else really to say on that amp. Weight-wise, again, yeah, 12k to 13k, not bad. Put it under your arm, carry it to the car. You know what I mean? Yeah, ain't none of that. You need 4 man for 1 amp, no more. Put it under your arm, carry it to the car. Simple as that, you know. And to say, yeah, I can put 1 amp under my arm, carry it to the car, and it will run 16 speakers. Something else, you know. This, I think this first set actually was made with line array in mind. because the first one they done was an actual 4 by 1000 watts, and I think, or was there a 4 by 600 watts? There might have actually been, but I think they was at the time thinking of line arraying mine, which they're still doing. But basically, an amp like this, or the 42000, could easily run a couple of bottoms and then mids and top. Could run your whole 4 bass stack with a kick section, with a mid section, and with a horn section on one amp. Yeah, you could use this amp in a line array quite easily, 2 bottoms and then a line array, rare, by hooking it in series, parallel, or whatever, you know, and you could get more boxes and deal with things that way. So, you know, it is very versatile for what you can do with it. And, you know, if you use your head and the right drivers to the right amp, as well as the versatility, you will have an amount of power with that. You know what I mean? A good amount of power with that. I mean, like they said to Behringer years ago, when Behringer came out with the iNuke series, and Behringer inflated them figures to 1500 at 8 ohms and 3000 at 4 ohms per channel. And the reason, you know, everybody cussed them wasn't because whether the amp could play good or not. Everybody cussed them because they inflated their figures, which helped me, because at the time they decided to down the price on all them iNuke amps, so I bought 2. And trust me, that 7 years down the line, only just last month the first one gave up after 7 years, so it was worth £175, yeah. But in reality, that amp could do about 1000 to 1200 at 8 ohms, and it would give you about 2200 at 4 ohms. So the figures was well inflated, and it wasn't a case of, as I said, the amp for me over 7 years, and I bought another 2. Yeah, that amp played flawlessly on bass, just nice and steady, didn't peak it, didn't thump it hard, rare. That amp played flawlessly. So people only went against the amp because Behringer inflated the figures. Yeah. Now, same with these. Yeah. These might. Yeah. Because I haven't put them on a meter, as I've said. Yeah. I'm gonna leave that to other guys to do that. But I haven't put them on a meter, but sound power wise, I don't think they will hit the specific figures that they're saying at 2 ohms and rah-tah. Yeah, I personally, I doubt that. I doubt that. I doubt that for a lot of amps. I'm going to be, you know, I'm very dubious. I'm very cautious. So, you know, I could be wrong, you know. I could be wrong, and they could ring me tomorrow and say, why, you want to retract that statement and I'll prove it to you, and they'll send me the proof. Yeah. But I very much doubt that these can do them figures at 2 ohms and bridge ohms and blah, blah, blah. But in saying that, if you use these amps sensibly, the same like any amplifier that's built, if you use these amps sensibly and put the correct driver, the correct power driver on the correct amplifier, on the correct channel, with the correct frequency signal, these amps will play it all day long and play it nicely. We got Cousin Ren, right? I can tell you now, I'm going to say this to Cousin Ren, because, you know, APS, the EEQ. All right, let me tell you something, yeah? You see that I put the EQ on this because the EQ, I can split that different ways and get different frequencies and listen to different tones with that EQ. EQ alone. So I went straight from music source into the EQ into the amp, nothing else between, right? So I could listen properly to this amp playing tone. When I tell you, it was like, yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised. It has a nice reproduction of tone. It has a nice reproduction of tone. Trust me. And I thought it was, when I done the first test, I thought it was only, well, that sounds nice at low volume, you know. And then I took it out. Yeah? And I put a couple of speakers, put 2 bass, 2 tops, yeah, standard thing, hole in the middle, yeah. And I walked back. I was at a venue, I walked back, and I walk outside, and it sounded clean. I tell you that now, it sounded, I was proud, I felt nice. I come back in, the amp's just flashing a little. I nodded at the amp, you know, I wanted to chat to the amp. So yeah, it sounds clean, and yes, Lord Ambassador Sound does use them. And if you go and hear his stack, right, which I did a few weeks back as well, you will hear that when he's playing with his preamp and the rest that he puts into that, what comes out of them boxes is still clean signal that's coming through that amp. So yes, trust me, the reproduction of tone on this amp is there. There is no muddiness. That's the word I'm looking for. There is no muddiness or drag or nothing like that. You can hear vocals, instruments, bass line. Good thing again, from what I've seen, it doesn't slope off. This was my issue with the CVR that I found with the CVR personally. The CVR, good amp, clean amp, plays good, but for me personally, when that started hitting 45 hertz, the power started going down and it started losing it. You could hear it sloping. Now, I'm sure that wasn't me. I could hear that sloping. And I've heard it a couple of times on different sounds. So I still say that although the CVR, good amp, play them amp, tough amp, will play parties. If you're a roots reggae deep sound, yeah, I do not believe that that amp will do the job for you good. Not at perforated good volumes. Low volume, then a few of them possibly, yeah. But at high volume, you will hear that start to slope off. That's just my own personal opinion. Other people have got that amp and ain't noticed that kind of issue, yeah. That's just my own personal opinion from the tests that I've done, from the times that I've been there with it, with different people and blah, blah, blah. So it's just my own personal opinion. So I big up anybody who's got CVR, you know, I hope you're getting on good with it. Simple as that, simple as that. As I said, now, that's more or less it, for today. For today, like I said, the Admark 4-channel amp, boom piece amp, boom piece amp. Yeah, I personally rate it. I can't say I rate it hard. I'll let you know that after a few months after I've banged it out hard and everything, and we'll see how it goes after that. But I think it, you know, as I say, I look after my equipment, and my Behringer amp, after 7 years of how many events, how many hours, and how much thump on bass, as well as tops and everything, just had got red light syndrome, as I call it, and it died just 4 weeks ago. But it gave me 7 years for £175. You hear me complaining? Simple as that. And the main thing for that is the Behringer done the job good for me, just for the simple reason I matched numbers. The nasty box is only 1,000 watts in 4 ohms. The Behringer in bass frequencies, give me a clean 16 to 1800 watts. That's all I needed for that box. And that's why that amp lasted me that long. And that's why the other two, one is 6 years old, one is 5 years old, they're still lasting me now. And I'm pretty sure that you'll come back to me in 5 years time and this one will still be playing good. So for me, the Admark amp, good amp, worth the money. If you need one or you want to get linked for one, you know, just message me. And by the way, let's get something straight. Yeah, these things I'm doing here financially, there ain't nothing in it for me. Okay, no, I'm getting nothing from no company, from nobody. Yeah, I ain't selling nothing for no one. Yeah, I link up with people rare. Cousin Ren, APS, Daniel, Admark, Alpha Ligua, back in the times. You know what I mean? I just link up with people, get pieces, do what I'm doing. Yeah, there is no finance, because I do this for the love and for my people to know my opinion of what we're chatting about. Simple as that, yeah? Okay then, right, so big up all those upon the lawn. Thank you again for your listening ears and everything. I'm going to share this into a couple of groups afterwards so people can watch back. And as I said, yeah, if you're a sound person, have a look. Have a look at these, you know, look them up. Don't bypass them and just because they're Chinese and they're small, think that they can't do anything. Before you cuss it, try it out. Simple as that. And if you need to hear it, or you really want to try one out, or whatever, and you don't want to pay, call me. Simple. Call me. Yeah, we'll see if we can link up, and we'll see what we can do so you can test it out. Yeah, I'm a man, as I said, I'm part of the sound fraternity, part of the sound community. So we look after each other. So if you need to do that, and I have space in my window, and I can help you, come and get me. We'll go and plug it on the set. We'll try it out. You can tell me what you think on your system. Yeah, simple as that. We help each other. We look after each other. A little brandy, I'm nice. Yeah, simple as that. Yeah. I'm gonna go. Yeah. Ebony Showcase. Contact Cousin Ren. You have his phone number. Contact him so that yeah, you two can get together and blah blah blah. I've got this one here for him if he wants to try it the same way. I've got the next one coming as well. So yeah, if you've got a bigger one or whatever, then well, you two can chat. And that's it. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, the Admark 4-channel amp, very good amp. You know, I rate it. It does the job. It does it very well, and it stays cool. That's one of the main things. Yeah, and one use space a bit lighter. That also helps as well. Big up yourselves. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you very soon. Enough events coming up, so I'll see you very soon. Later will be greater.